Hello. Okay, here we go. We are starting 3-2, which is where we're talking about describing and drawing real world graphs based on whichever one is given to us. So if we look at number 1 here, this is where we're having an example of describing. That means we're going to make a verbal representation of the picture that's over here. Okay, so this graph shows the height of a roller coaster during a single ride. Describe the roller coaster ride. Notice time is on the x-axis, and most often time is on the x-axis, and the height is on the y-axis. So let's write down what that description, an example of a description for this picture might be. The roller coaster, spell coaster, the roller coaster left the gate and climbed up before a large decline, period. The roller coaster climbs up again, declining. That's too many INGs. Declining on a smaller hill, period. There is one last hill, comma, not as large as the first, comma, before the end of the ride. You're just telling a story of what is happening. Now, you may want to add in here something about the roller coaster left the gate a few feet off the ground. And the reason that I add that is because notice it's not starting at 0. The roller coaster started above the ground. This is why I'm adding that statement, okay? Because the roller coaster started above 0, which is the ground. Okay, next example. Now we're going to draw a picture that represents our description that's given to us. So it's the reverse. So it says, in a single day, it snowed lightly during the morning, then heavily for the rest of the day. Graph time, time on the x-axis, and total snowfall on the y-axis. So the first thing, we have to make sure that you label the axes. So you have to label axes. You must label, okay? So we have time here, and we have the total snowfall here. All right, so we're starting off with when there's 0 time, there's 0 snowfall. And then it says it snowed lightly during the morning. So therefore, we're going to kind of have a slow, gradual increase because it slowed lightly. And then it says, that's for most of the morning. Then for the rest of the day, it snowed heavily. That means that the amount of snowfall is going to drastically increase. Okay, so this is the lightly section. This is the heavily section. You don't need to add the words. That's just so you're understanding the drawing, because your pictures will not have those words. Okay. All right. Jumping down, let's look at number 4. It says, a basketball was dropped out of a window. Okay, so it was dropped out of a window on the 2nd floor of a school on onto the concrete below. Each time the ball hit the ground, it bounced and reached a height that was half of the previous bounce. It continued doing this until it settled on the ground. Graph time on the x-axis, distance from the ground on the y-axis. So here's time, and here is distance. All right, so it's starting from up here. This is where it's dropping out of the window, because the window is not going to be down here at 0. The window on the 2nd floor is going to be up here. So then it's going to drop down and it's going to bounce. And then it says that it bounces half the previous bounce. So it's going to go about halfway. Then it's going to go down. Then it's going to go about halfway. Then it's going to go down. Then it's going to go about halfway. Then it's going to go down halfway, 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 until it hits the ground. And there's my graph. Next example. Looking at number 6. It says, Carlos is running back on his football team. Oh, sorry, can't read correctly. Carlos is a running back on his football team. He ran the same number of yards in each of his first 6 games of the season. After the 6th game, he did not play for the rest of the season due to an injury. Graph games on the x-axis and total yards on the y-axis. So this here is going to be the number of games. And over here is going to be the total yards. All right, so it says he ran the same number of yards each. So therefore, he's got the same slope. He's going at the same amount for each game. His yards are increasing. But then all of a sudden, he got hurt, so he didn't run any more yards. So therefore, the amount of yards stayed the same. That's why it's horizontal, because the amount of yards stayed the same. Amount of yards stayed same. You don't need to write that. That's for your understanding. Okay. Your assignment is to finish the notes and the classwork homework. Have a great day.